Your grocery cart has been guilt-tripped. Every time you reach for a ribeye, a stick of butter, or a jar of peanut butter, some nutritionist on your feed is ready to tell you you're one bite from a heart attack. Here's the problem. Most of what they're repeating traces back to a bad study, a marketing campaign, or a guess that got treated like scripture. Let's go aisle by aisle and take your groceries back. Red meat. The red meat will kill you. Line traces back to 1977, when a Senate committee needed a simple villain for heart disease and picked saturated fat, mostly because it was easier than picking a fight with the sugar industry. Beef got dragged down with it. What actually happens in your body tells a different story. Dietary cholesterol from a steak barely moves the needle on your blood work because your liver makes most of its own cholesterol regardless of what you eat. What you do get from red meat is heme iron, which your body absorbs several times more efficiently than the iron in spinach, plus B12 in a form no vegetable can supply. A committee needed a scapegoat in a hurry. Beef was just the easiest target in the room. Bacon. In 2015, headlines screamed that bacon was as carcinogenic as cigarettes based on a WHO classification that groups things by whether they can cause cancer under any circumstance, not by how risky they actually are at normal servings. Sunlight sits in that same category. So does alcohol, buried in the same report. The actual lifetime increase in risk from daily processed meat came out to roughly 1%. Pasture-raised bacon also delivers B vitamins, selenium, and choline your body genuinely needs. The panic conflated a $2 gas station hot dog with a properly raised strip of pork and called both processed meat. One headline and breakfast never fully recovered: butter. Butter didn't lose its reputation to science, it lost it to a chart. In the 1960s, one researcher built his famous saturated fat causes heart disease graph using data from just 7 countries, after quietly leaving out the 15 others that didn't support the theory, including butter-loving France. That cherry-picked chart shaped nutrition policy for decades, and the industry filled the gap with hydrogenated vegetable oils, trans fats that turned out to be far more damaging than butter ever was. What you're actually eating with butter is short-chain fatty acids your body burns efficiently, plus vitamin K2 and real vitamin A. The thing that replaced it was the actual problem. Whole milk. Skim milk strips out the fat to protect your heart, which also happens to strip out the reason milk is nutritious in the first place. Vitamins A, D, E, and K are fat-soluble. No fat, no absorption. To make watery skim milk palatable, manufacturers added sugar back in. The exact ingredient a Harvard paper, later revealed to be funded by the sugar industry, had quietly let off the hook back in 1965. Whole milk also carries butyrate, a compound your gut bacteria depend on. You didn't upgrade your milk when you went skim. You downgraded it and got a sugar rush as a consolation prize. Eggs. In 1984, a magazine cover turned a fried egg into a frowning face and told America to fear the yolk. That single image launched a decades-long habit of ordering egg white omelets and paying extra for it. The yolk is where almost all the nutrition lives: choline for your liver and brain, lutein for your eyes, vitamin D, and B12 in concentrations that rival red meat. Decades of follow-up research found the link between dietary cholesterol and blood cholesterol is weak in most people and non-existent in many. You've been paying a premium to throw away the best part of one of the cheapest proteins on the planet: cheese. Aged cheese got filed under artery clogger during the saturated fat panic of the late 80s, and the industry responded by gutting it, stripping the fat, pumping in emulsifiers and starches, and selling it back as cheese product. Real cheese, the aged kind, is one of the richest sources of vitamin K2 you can eat, a nutrient that directs calcium toward your bones and away from your arteries, the opposite of what the fear implied. It also carries bioavailable calcium and fermentation byproducts linked to lower blood pressure. A block of aged Gouda and a stack of individually wrapped plastic orange slices share a name and almost nothing else: potatoes. After the low-fat era collapsed, diet culture needed a new villain and landed on carbs, lumping a plain baked potato into the same category as a candy bar. That's backwards. On the satiety index, the scale researchers use to measure how full a food keeps you per calorie, boiled potatoes outrank eggs, oatmeal, and whole grain bread. They carry more potassium than a banana and fiber that feeds your gut bacteria. Cool a cooked potato overnight, and its starch restructures into resistant starch your body can't fully digest, feeding good bacteria instead of spiking your blood sugar. The potato was never the problem. Deep frying it and burying it in toppings was. White rice. White rice gets written off as empty carbs by people who forget it has fed more of the human population for longer than nearly any other food on Earth. If it were as damaging as the label suggests, entire regions of Asia built around it would show the fallout in their health data. They don't. Cook rice, then cool it, and the same resistant starch trick from potatoes kicks in, cutting its glycemic impact by close to half in some studies. Eaten the way it traditionally is, alongside vegetables and protein, not alone in a giant bowl, rice is a plain, digestible energy source that got swept up in the general anti-carb mood of the last 20 years. Pasta. Pasta got swept up in the same anti-carb panic as rice and potatoes, treated like a guaranteed blood sugar spike in a bowl. But properly cooked pasta, al dente, with a slight bite left in it, behaves differently than the mushy, overcooked version most people picture. The firmer structure means it digests more slowly, producing a gentler blood sugar response than fully softened pasta from the same box. Add the fact that a plate of pasta is rarely eaten alone. It's usually loaded with olive oil, tomatoes, and protein, all of which further slow digestion. And the instant sugar spike reputation falls apart fast. Studies out of Canada looking at long-term pasta consumption have even found it wasn't associated with weight gain when eaten as part of a balanced diet. The fear was never really about wheat and water. It was about the jar of Alfredo and the family-size portion sitting on top of it. Salt. The case against salt rests largely on a 1960s rat study where researchers fed rodents sodium at roughly 50 times normal human intake to force a blood pressure spike. That data helped shape national low-sodium guidance anyway. Your body actually needs sodium to fire nerve signals and keep your heart beating on schedule, and healthy kidneys flush out any excess automatically. Large reviews since then have found the real relationship between sodium and heart health looks more like a J-curve than a straight line. Too little causes measurable harm, and moderate amounts do little to nothing for most people. The guidance that told everyone to fear the shaker pushed households straight toward the ultra-processed food actually driving the numbers. Coffee. The fear that coffee wrecks your heart traces back to a cereal executive named C.W. Post, who was selling a grain-based coffee substitute in the early 1900s and ran ads claiming coffee caused nervous breakdowns and stunted growth, with zero clinical evidence behind any of it. There was no FDA checking his claims, so the myth just stuck around, resurfacing decades later when researchers tried and mostly failed to pin heart disease on caffeine. Modern data point the other way entirely. People who drink 3 to 4 cups a day tend to show lower all-cause mortality than people who avoid it completely, along with reduced rates of type 2 diabetes. Coffee is also one of the largest sources of antioxidants in the average American diet. Not because it's exceptional, but because most people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables to compete with it. The Vice label was invented by a guy trying to sell fake coffee. The science has been walking it back ever since. Peanut butter. Reduced fat peanut butter exists, so a company can sell you 2 products instead of 1. When the fat-free craze hit, food companies realized the natural peanut oil in a jar was worth more sold separately than left in the jar. So they extracted it, replaced it with corn syrup solids and hydrogenated oil, and slapped a heart-healthy label on the result. Real peanut butter has a protein-to-fat ratio that slows digestion and stabilizes blood sugar, plus vitamin E and magnesium most adults are short on. The healthy version has less fat, more sugar, and leaves you hungry an hour later, which was the entire point. Chocolate. Dark chocolate gets a pass from most nutrition rules, but a lot of people still lump it in with candy out of habit. That instinct misses what chocolate actually was before industrial food got involved. A bitter, unsweetened drink consumed for centuries in Mesoamerica, closer to a medicinal herb than a dessert. Milk chocolate, the version people picture when they hear unhealthy, only exists because cocoa is expensive and sugar is cheap, and manufacturers figured out how to stretch a small amount of cocoa into a much bigger, sweeter product. Real dark chocolate, 70% cocoa or higher, still carries the original profile: flavanols that improve blood vessel function, magnesium, iron, and a polyphenol content that outpaces blueberries and green tea gram for gram. Studies tracking regular dark chocolate consumption have linked it to lower blood pressure and better insulin sensitivity. The bitter version was never the problem. The candy bar wearing its name is a different food entirely: full-fat salad dressing. Here's the twist nobody expects. Dousing your salad in fat-free dressing can cancel out the reason you're eating it. Vitamins A, D, E, and K, along with the carotenoids in leafy greens, are fat-soluble, meaning your body needs fat in the same meal to absorb them at all. A Purdue study tested this directly, feeding people identical salads with fat-free, reduced fat, and full-fat dressing, then measuring what actually reached their bloodstream. The full-fat version won by a wide margin, in some cases absorbing several times more nutrients than the fat-free version. You can eat a technically perfect salad and absorb almost none of it, all because of the dressing you thought was the healthy choice. None of this happened by accident. A chart needed cherry picking, an oil needed a market, a headline needed a villain, and the food that fed people for generations got rebranded as the enemy almost overnight. The science mostly corrected itself. Nobody told your grocery list. If you want more myths busted before your next shopping trip, hit subscribe.